Albert Einstein. Throughout human history, learned men such as Kepler, Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton have tried to explain the workings of the universe. But another great figure in this line is about to be
The people's scientist. Not only was he quirky, he was a rebellious, fun, and kind-hearted man who touched many lives during his time on Earth. Here, we'll take a dive into his interesting, semi-troubled youth, to his discovery of some of the most famous equations and theories in science and mathematics. This is the incredible life of Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 in German city of Ulm. His mother thought he was a freak since his head was too large. It is said that the story of Einstein's brilliance started when he was just 4 years of age. His father had given him a magnetic pocket compass to play with. He became so obsessed with the way that the needle seemed to move around as if by magic. It is believed that that was the event from where Einstein's deep passion for physics originated. He enjoyed spending time in solitude or playing mechanical toys, learning math and science. Since he did not enjoy the company of his friends, they called him Brother Boring. He was not at all a favorite student either. Once his headmaster told his father that Einstein would never make success in his life. Einstein started playing violin for his mother and stayed with him throughout his lifetime. Although he wasn't popular among friends and teachers, he scored good marks in almost every subject. He was, however, a rebel as a child, and because he did not like school's regimentation, he often ended up clashing with his teachers. He left the school at the age of 15 and joined a school in German-speaking Switzerland, which, according to him, was much more liberal than his old school in Munich. Because of his interest in physics and maths, he decided to study at a university in Zurich, where he met and fell in love with a fellow student, Mileva Maric, a young Serb whom he found to be a clever creature. He wasn't lucky to get a job soon after completion of his studies. In 1900, at the age of 21, he was a university graduate but unemployed. In 1902, he finally secured a job as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. There, he was supposed to assess other people's invention, but instead of doing so, he sat in his office desk developing his own ideas in secret. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Among his many works, one of his famous was Special Theory of Relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. E equals to mc square. E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for speed of light in a vacuum. His mother disapproved of Einstein's relation with Mileva for two reasons. The first being Mileva was 3 years elder to Einstein. The second, she was highly intellectual. However, in spite of all these, they finally got married in January 1903. But soon their relation could not stand the test of time. And Mileva realized that being a housewife, or homemaker as they call it now, was somewhat dissatisfying, and she felt she was losing herself in the process. They soon ended their relation and got divorced in the year 1919. Life moved on too early for him, as he married his cousin Elsa in the same year. In 1915, he had published his General Theory of Relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. It brought him fame and respect along with honors and invitations from all over the world. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution, and in the year 1921, he was accorded with the Nobel Prize for Physics.
Between 1905 and 1915, Einstein developed the theory of general relativity. He imagined the three dimensions of space and the dimension of time together as a kind of fabric surrounding us, shaped by the presence of celestial bodies. He called it space-time. Imagine the sun as a heavy bowling ball placed in the middle of a trampoline. The ball makes the surface of the trampoline dip, right? This curvature is what we feel as gravity. So for Einstein, the Earth and the other planets remain in orbit not because the sun attracts them, but because the sun is such a massive star that other celestial bodies follow the curve it generates in the space-time fabric. Now, gravity is no longer considered a force of attraction between two bodies, as Newton thought. It is an effect of the space-time curvature on bodies. So according to Einstein, what would happen if the sun disappeared? His theory says this disturbance in space-time would form a gravitational wave that would travel to the planets at exactly the speed of light. That means we would see the sun go dark at the same time as the Earth changes its orbit. In other words, what Einstein demonstrated is that until then, we had been seeing the universe in the wrong way. The general relativity theory turned Einstein into a world celebrity. Because of him, science and our imagination could fly high.
Einstein, being a Jew, emigrated to America when Nazis came to power in Germany in the year 1933. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had America in an uproar. People were afraid that Nazis would build and use atom bomb. Einstein was worried, and so he wrote a letter to the then American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August 1939, in which he warned about the repercussions of atomic bombs. However, it did not fail to have any effect. Instead, the Americans built an atomic bomb in secret, dropped it on Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on 6th and 9th August 1945, wiping out 90% of the city. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of destruction. He blamed himself for it. This got him more involved in politics, agitating for an end to arms build-up, and he used his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. He charged money for his autograph and donated it to charity. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76 in Princeton, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius.